Woodies, proud sponsor of Supergarden.
The first plant that I'm going to talk about in Floris's garden is the bay laurel, Laurus nobilis, also known as the sweet bay. It's a very popular shrub in Ireland, mainly because of its use for seasoning and also because of its ornamental value. Planted in a garden, you can plant it as a structural plant in the garden, and you can also plant it as a topiary tree in the garden, whatever shape or form you want. So it can be used ideal for a small garden, and of course it's an excellent container plant. But remember, repot it after 2 years or so. It's a Mediterranean plant, so it likes free draining soil, but give it shade or partial shade and you will get maximum impact over the winter months with its green glossy foliage. So a lovely tree with many uses and can be grown in various forms. Another plant that I really like in Floris's garden is Rosemary Rosmarinus officinalis. It's a classic Mediterranean plant with its linear foliage, its blue attractive flowers, and of course the magnificent aroma which you'll get from it. Prune it back after flowering, you'll get a much bushier plant than you will if you don't touch it. So that's one of the most important requirements for rosemary, to keep it pruned and trim it back immediately after flowering. If you want it for a dual purpose, if you want it for impact in the garden, and if you want it for culinary purposes. The demands in growing rosemary are minimal. You can grow it in a wide range of conditions. Soil condition is not too demanding, but you must give it plenty, aspect must be right, so you must give it plenty of sunlight. But make sure if you plant it during the summer months that you water sufficiently, because if you don't water it, the plant will dry out and inevitably it will fail. One of the really attractive plants in Floris's garden is the Hellebore, or Lenten rose. This Hellebore is Helleborus orientalis, and then you will see it's in flower at the moment. The flowers are magnificent this time of the year. You can get flowers in white and indeed flowers in a purple colour. One of the great attributes of Helleborus orientalis is it will seed and will produce plants. The plants may not be identical to the parent plant. You can get white and indeed you can get purple colour plants, but it certainly will result in new plants, new babies germinating right beside the parent plant. Ideally leave them in the ground for a year or two so that they will form a good root system before you transplant them. The perfect conditions for a Hellebore to prosper is shade or partial shade. Secondly, it's a woodland plant, so it requires plenty of humus. And if you provide those conditions, you're certain to get impact, colour, and certainly your eye will be drawn to this plant in the early part of the year when there's little else in flower.
Woodies, proud sponsor of Supergarden.